Okay, so I have a 3-minute proof of God that I would like to share with you. It starts out like this. If you were walking on a beach and you saw the words, "I love Lucy," inside a heart written on the sand, would you believe that wind, waves, natural forces, gravity, electromagnetism produce those words? Or would you believe that an intelligent being wrote them there? Most people would say it's an intelligent being produces language, right? Whether it's animals or aliens, whenever we see language, we say that's proof of intelligent origin. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence is looking for radio waves with a language or pattern on them to prove that there's intelligent beings outside our solar system. So, what is DNA? It's called the Book of Life. It has over 1 trillion bits of information. That's hundreds of thousands of books of information contained within a living cell. It tells the cell how to communicate, navigate, transport, manufacture, how to orientate three-dimensional objects in three-dimensional space and place them where they are needed in order to duplicate a living cell. I'm an engineer. If I took a car factory and shrunk it and put it inside an automobile, I would have a self-replicating automobile. I would basically have what life is. Let's go back to the Big Bang. Big Bang occurred. Every atom in the universe was created, right? The suns, the earth was created. Eventually, life appeared here on Earth. That life had DNA in it because DNA is required for cell reproduction. And the very first life form that appeared on Earth, before we could ever evolve from anything, had to be able to replicate itself. If you cannot replicate, you cannot evolve. There can be no change over time. So we have to believe one of two things happened. That life appeared on Earth through natural forces that had the equivalent of a car factory inside a car, and therefore a self-replicating automobile. Or we can believe that some intelligent being that is incredibly smart created the very first life form here on Earth. The premise, the logic is two premises and a conclusion, right? Premise number one, all language comes from intelligent sources. And then premise number two is the very first life form here on Earth that we all supposedly evolved from, that had language in it. Whether it was RNA language or DNA language, it had language in it. Conclusion, that life form, that very first life form, had to have an intelligent source. If the premises are true, the conclusion has to be true. So let's review them. Premise one, does all language come from intelligent sources? Or can gravity create a language? Premise number two, did the very first life form that had the ability to replicate itself have the language, the blueprint necessary to replicate life? It had to, otherwise evolution cannot occur. Therefore, conclusion, life here on Earth must have come from an intelligent source. That's my 2-minute proof of God. Some of the books that have this type of information are God's Crime Scene by Jay Wallace, and I don't have enough faith to be an atheist by Norman L. Geisler and Frank Turek. Highly recommend these for expanding on where did life come from and why God exists. Thank you.